For the
All right, guys.
people that actually watch the video. Oh, here we go.
All right. All right. Let the music play for a minute. Just dance a little bit. Let me turn it up a little. All right, guys. So I'm gonna let this music play for a second. Get all these commercials out of the way, because I know we got a lot of commercials, right?
That's right.
We are hitting so many people out there.
That's called Containers. Just came out with the new commercial. It's crazy. Special guests all over the place.
All right, let me fade this music out. Turn it down here. All right, welcome week 7, guys. So I do have a little PowerPoint I'm going to share here with you guys real quick, and we're going to talk about the show tonight. I figured the first few minutes we could open up to kind of open mic night, and let's just talk about week 5 was last week. Week 6, yeah. So week 6. Let's talk about week 6. So I'm gonna throw it over to Ricky first. What were your thoughts on week 6, and what did you see, and just general observations on week 6 of the college football season?
First thing I think I saw was no defense was played whatsoever, with the exception of Clemson's defense against Miami. Almost big upsets left and right. I basically saw more of the same, that you knew it's going to be a crazy year this year. Never know what to expect. Probably going to end up with some weird teams in the playoffs if this keeps up. So, wild and fun week 6. We'll get into some of the old predictions later on. I don't really appreciate Steven putting the word beatdown on the screen, but we'll talk about that later, and we'll talk about we can get into UF's COVID outburst and who might be patient zero. What I'm hearing on the internet and from my sources, we can go a little bit deeper into that. But what about you?
All right, cool. Hey, Ronnie, you wanna give your observations on week 6? Just general, what your general thoughts?
Like Ricky said, a lot of offense. Defenses are having a lot of trouble. Be interesting to see if defenses pick it up later in the year, but you got to be a brave man to take an under right now.
Oh, do we have Ronnie coming to the overside?
Just for the first half of the season.
All right, just for you, all you newcomers to the show. My name is Bama Steve, and then we've got Reversion Ronnie, the big bearded guy up here, and then the bald-headed guy, the Miami fan here at the bottom of the screen is that's Ricky Reversion. So he always reverts back to the mean. Or no, I'm sorry, Rebound. You're Rebound, right?
Yep, Rebound Ricky.
Yeah, you're Rebound Ricky. So in case you haven't seen us before, that's who we are. I got Reversion and Rebound mixed up, but to me it doesn't matter. They're both scrubs and picking. So
that's right.
That's right.
That's why we're called the Squares.
Yes. Yeah. So this is the Squares show, and so I want to make one observation in my, in the open mic recap by Ronnie and Ricky. I want to remind the audience of what they didn't say. No one bragged about how many picks they got right.
Whoa!
I was saving that for later.
So open mic night.
Waiting for that.
So I give you guys a chance to brag, and no one says anything. That means you guys must have got slaughtered.
Oh man!
I went 4-2, as you notice, for fans, our long tenured fans that have been here for the past 2 weeks. We're upgrading. I got a camera. I got a new mic. That's because I went 4-2 this week. Made money, and I had enough money to buy this mic and this camera. So we're doing great over here. Fantastic. We'll go through the picks a little bit later in this recap and explain how well we did. But going in future, you can go to betspurts.com. That is BETSPERTS.com. You can look up me. My username is rgomezsae. So this is the first week that I put my picks in. So the picks that I'm discussing right now, you'll be able to see them for free on betspurts.com. We're going to keep them free for the next couple of weeks just to, win you guys some money, gain your guys' trust, and then we'll probably be putting them for sale. So make sure you go to betspurts.com and you'll be able to see my picks going forward and see how amazing my track record is. So
Yeah,
All right,
I've been
so
using BetSperts going forward, or the last 2 weeks, 9-1 here.
Oh, 9-1. Okay. Do you have a website I can go to check that out, or are you just making that up?
Watch the shows. Watch the playback.
Well, first of all, you guys need to let me know if you're going to give your own shame looks to your websites. This is a cooperative effort, and we do things as a group. If you want to drive traffic over to your own site, you need to let us know before you do that and let us approve it. Otherwise, you have to buy advertising. Just want to let you guys know that.
Well, the money made from this BetSport site might be funding this video production later on.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. So yeah, just kind of moving along. Really don't have much to say about week 6 other than it's a COVID season, guys. It's a weird season. I'm just happy to be playing football, I guess. It's just a weird year. Up and down. Yeah, go ahead.
So, Steven, did Kiffin have your guys' defensive signals? Because it looked like Saban, after the game, was trying to insinuate that, it almost seemed like he had our signals.
No, I don't think he did. I think it was just bad defense, man. It looked like I'll tell you what it reminded me of. If we want to talk about Bama right now, let's move on to the next bullet point, Bama. So we'll move on to the Bama defense. To me, when I was watching that game, it was like when Alabama played Oklahoma, I think 2 years ago in the playoffs, where we were scoring at will and they just looked like they didn't even have 11 guys on the field. That's how we looked against Ole Miss. Like literally, they would do a handoff, and there wouldn't be anybody within 10 yards of the guy. I mean, it was ridiculous. So I don't know what to think of it. It's just a weird year. It wasn't. If they were stealing the signals, I guess they were stealing tackles as well because Alabama couldn't tackle or anything, or who knows? They may have COVID. I have no idea. So it sounds like COVID is going around. I know. So I know we're going to get into this Florida COVID issue because Dan Mullen's wife was kissing all the Floridans, but apparently, they played Texas A&M, right? So didn't Texas A&M have some COVID issues? So and then Alabama played Texas A&M the week before. So maybe there's some COVID going on and people are playing hurt. I don't know. It's a weird year, but I don't think they were stealing signals. I think it was just bad defense. I think that was Saban loves to throw an excuse out there when he can. So just take that as a grain of salt. But
yeah, but I mean, it's got to make you feel good as a Bama fan that you guys that you left 48, but you still scored 62. I think they said, I think I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Ole Miss was able to prevent 41 yards of offense the entire game, that they made them give up, they punted at like the 40-yard line. And that was about all that Ole Miss was able to stop Alabama. They basically scored every single drive.
Yeah, I mean, it was just for reference, you guys may not have watched the game. You may have just seen the highlights or whatever, but it was the most yards a defense from Alabama has ever given up in that game. It was really the only way Alabama won the game was because of Ole Miss fumbling a shotgun snap. So, and they had to kick a field goal, and that was it. But otherwise, we weren't stopping anything. So, anyway, there's nothing to say about that. I guess we'll talk about Bama and Georgia toward the end of the show, but we'll move on and talk about the beatdown in South Carolina. No, Ricky. So I'm just going to turn it over to you so you can just take your lumps on this.
Yeah, it was pretty painful. To be honest, at the beginning of the game, felt like we were just killing ourselves. You got into offsides where they I think we had almost intercepted the ball, but then we were like a half a foot offsides, and then you call that back, they go score a touchdown. So it would have been a 3-and-out to start the game. Next drive, again, we had a targeting call where we lost one of our safeties after our other safety was out from the previous game. That play, they had a holding call on them. So again, that was going to be another 3-and-out. Turns into another touchdown. So we already put ourselves 14-0 in the hole. Our offense could not do anything. There's no blocking. They're blitzing. It seemed like almost every single play. And Clemson's offense did exactly what I was afraid of. They didn't throw deep at all, basically. Throw a lot of dink and dunks, and then ETN just lit us up left and right. So Miami's not back, but I also think Clemson looked a lot better than I thought they were this year. Now I'm thinking they're in the same class as Alabama. They actually look like they have some defense, maybe not as good of offense as Alabama does, but they look like they got some defense.
Well, they certainly can run the football, and they certainly have a good offensive line. I didn't watch the whole game. I watched bits and pieces of it, but I mean, it was to me. It's just Clemson is just too. Their running game is just too good right now. ETN can hit you in the, on the perimeter, and he can hit you up the middle, and you don't know if the ball is going to come out to him or if if Lawrence is going to take it and throw it. So I think to me, it's probably the hardest defense or the hardest offense to defend right now in the country. Alabama's more of a passing offense, and the running game is not quite as good. But to me, I think Clemson is right there with them. But so you talked a lot of crap last week about Miami, but it was a good good measuring stick, and obviously Miami didn't quite measure up yet.
Yeah. One thing to point out for when we get to playoff special teams, we buck 3 field goals. So that's a hole. That's a hole in Clemson's scheming for kicking field goals. So hopefully they close that up, because that might cost them later on in the playoffs, later on in the year. If somebody's looking for a flaw in their armor.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Ronnie on this discussion, but so just out of curiosity, what do you think was the biggest surprise? Miami losing the way they did, or Florida losing? Ronnie?
I didn't think it was too far-fetched for Florida to lose that game. If anybody's been watching our games, you can see that we've had a lot of defensive troubles the first few games of the year. So I could see it going. That's why I told Ricky to take the over instead of taking the 6, laying the 6. But so I'm glad I steered him right on that one.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I had to do some research after the game.
So he's taking credit for your picks now.
That's right. I had to look up when was the last time Florida gave or scored at least 38 points and lost the game. And it was 1999 or 1998 when we lost by 1. I think we lost 39-38 to Bama. And it's been over 20 years. I think we had a couple of games where we lost in the mid 2000s where we scored 35 or 31, but it's been 10, 15 years since we scored in the 30s and lost the game. So it just kind of shows how the tables have turned a little bit at Florida, where we finally got the offense going and then had great defenses for the last 10 years, and now we're just dropping the ball on defense. But that seems to be kind of happening across the board for a lot of college football teams with the way the offseason turned out, and hopefully we get that turned around here and play some good football going forward.
Does Grantham make it through to the end of the year, you think, if he keeps it up like this? Or does he get fired mid-season?
Depends on how many games we lose. If we lose a few more games, I think he has a pretty good chance of getting fired. If we keep winning, then it depends on if Mullen wants him around.
Yeah, so I didn't watch the game, but I did watch Texas A&M versus Alabama, obviously. But when I watched the Texas A&M Bama game, Texas A&M has a better skill group than you think they do. They really did a lot of precision type pass plays that typically they wouldn't do. So they moved the ball on us pretty well. So what did you actually see on the with their offense? It looks better than you would think they would have. That was just my 2 cents.
I mean, I think Kellen Mond played a really good game. broadcasters talked about that a lot, where he didn't make a whole lot of mistakes. He played really well, and really for the defense, just like they've been doing the last couple of weeks, is letting the running back just run down our throat. I can't remember the name of the running back for Ole Miss, but he tore it up. Like we couldn't get him down. Bad tackling again, and so it made him look really good. I'm curious to see what they do this week. I can't remember who they're playing this week. I think it's Mississippi State, isn't it? But yeah, it should be interesting to see if they, feeling pretty high about themselves and go in and goof it up against Mississippi State. Not that Mississippi State hasn't been goofing it up the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So really the part that really made the biggest news was, Dan Mullen advocating for a full stadium during a COVID pandemic. I don't know what he was doing there. He was acting a fool, and then
I think he was trying to make an excuse for his loss. Oh, Texas A&M has fans. No, that's why we lost the game.
Yeah, I don't know if he's trying to make an excuse. I think he was trying to highlight the fact that Texas A&M had like 50 or 60,000 people in the stands, and everybody else was to operate on this rule that you got 10 grand in the stands or less, and then all of a sudden you show up at College Station and you got 2/3 of the stadium full. But
yeah,
I think if he probably had to do it again, he probably wouldn't have said it. But I think he liked highlighting the fact that there was a lot of people there. We were talking about it during the game. I think the announcers were talking about it too.
I wonder. I don't know if you guys heard on it was ESPN or SEC Network. They were talking about some of the schools not following COVID rules, and they were actually going to take revenue away from those SEC schools. The SEC was saying that. So I wonder if it was because too many fans in the stadium or what they were doing. But there's something going on.
I mean, you're always going to have like a group of college students or something, kind of grouped up together, not really following protocol or whatever the protocol is. I have no idea. But when you have 50 or 60,000 people in the stands, that's more than just a group of people getting together. That's, you sold quite a few tickets. And I think, after the game, they had a little thing about Texas A&M's attendance was 24,000. There is no way there was only 24,000 people in the stands. It was like 3 times that amount. It was a lot.
Yeah, I want real quickly. I want to go and share. I want to share my screen because I don't think Florida plays Mississippi State. I think Florida's game is postponed this week, isn't it?
No, you're saying Texas A&M plays them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because I thought there was a couple of postponed games, which I thought of when we talked about the coronavirus, thing going on with Florida. But I know it looks like to me that Florida or Texas A&M was patient zero on this, and we think it was Dan Mullen's wife. At least Ricky does.
Dan Mullen's wife was the number one patient zero. For those that don't know, before every game, as the players are coming off the bus, she kisses every one of the players. Now, some are on the mouth, some are on the cheek, some might be in other places. But definitely patient zero. You can tell her and the coach don't obviously sleep in the same house because I don't know how he didn't get it. But that's a whole nother story and rumors about. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to get this set up here. So you guys want to move on to, since I guess week 6 is probably, we're done with it. So we want to move on to week 7. And I think the only game really to talk about is Georgia and Alabama. And then we've already talked about LSU being postponed, LSU, Florida being postponed. So you guys want to give your takes on LSU and Georgia? I'm sorry, Georgia and Bama, sorry.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Ronnie.
I'm saying it should be a really good game. Obviously, the match to watch there is the Bama offense and the Georgia defense. That's what's getting highlighted the most. I just have trouble seeing how, I don't know, if Georgia doesn't get it going early, they had a lot of trouble last week against Tennessee. if they don't get it going early, it's going to be interesting if they're going to be able to keep up with Bama's offense, because I just feel like they're going to score a significant amount of points no matter how good Georgia's defense is talented to be.
Yeah, I actually heard a stat earlier today that said Mac Jones so far this season has a better stat line than both Joe Burrow and Tua had. So I mean, he's playing extremely well. I don't see them stopping Bama's offense, and I don't see that Bennett kid making enough plays to keep him in the game. So a lot of people are actually on the over on this game. So we'll see what happens. But I don't think this game ends up actually being close. I could see it being 2 touchdowns. It'll be interesting. Right now, I just heard that Saban passed his Thursday test. So if he passes his test today, and if he passes the test in the midday tomorrow, he's actually going to be able to coach the game. So that'll obviously be a plus for Bama. But even if he doesn't make it to the game, I could see the players being like, "Oh, let's use that as motivation. Gotta do this one for the ball coach." Kind of thing like that. So I think either way, they're fine.
Players actually like Saban, Steven.
Yeah, I would assume they do. Yeah. Why would they? Why would you go and be recruited and go to a school that you hate and stay at it if you hate the coach? I mean,
because they want to go to the NFL.
Funny story about Saban and how he is with his players. I was watching a Rich Eisen old YouTube video, and he was interviewing Tua, and they asked him, what's the funniest moment you had with Coach Saban? And he said when they won that championship where Tua threw the touchdown over to overtime. I guess he got sacked in that play before, and it was like 2nd and 26 or something like that. And Saban was like, "Yeah, I can see that he was pissed." Well, after the next play, they scored that touchdown. They're all excited, blah, blah, blah. They get back to the locker room, and Saban's first question to him is, "Why'd you take that sack?" And Tua thought it was a good time to tell a joke to Saban, and he said, "Well, I just needed more room to throw the ball." And Saban just stared at him and said, "That's not funny." So and walked away. So even after winning a national championship for the guy, he didn't care. He wanted to know why you made your mistake and not time for jokes.
I just wonder if everybody wants to go there because it's a good opportunity to get to the NFL, and then they buy into the system, but they don't really like the coach, or if they actually do like Saban. I don't know. They like playing for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little. I mean, I think it's comparable to other programs. I don't think there's more or less of that, at least not from what I've heard. But I mean, if I'm an 18-year-old kid and I am, I can pretty much pick anywhere I want to go. I'm not going to pick Mississippi State because they have the pirate and he's cool. I mean, that's not going to be. I mean, I'm going to go to someone who's going to teach me. So that in that learning curve, and that teaching, is going to be some hard love in there. And so, I'm sure it's a little of both. But I didn't play for him. At least when I tried to walk on, they wouldn't let me walk on. So.
Yeah. Well, here's something I pulled up here. So Bama's offense has played against Mizzou, A&M, and Ole Miss's defense, which are all like Swiss cheese. And then you got Georgia's defense had to defend Arkansas, Auburn, and Tennessee. So we're going to see who's exposed here in this game, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Auburn is not very good, and Tennessee is mediocre at best.
Yeah.
So
exactly. I don't think Arkansas's offense is all that either.
Yeah, and the thing typically that you at least under Saban, since Saban has been kind of, since he's brought the program back, typically what you look for is if you're facing a quarterback, no matter how good he is, that is not mobile, and a running threat, it just never works out for you. Going back, I'm trying to think back. The last victory that I can remember of a quarterback who was not very mobile and I can't even remember if this is even true, but it was probably the Utah team that Bama got beat in 2008 by Florida, and then went to the Sugar Bowl, and it was just kind of when they were coming back. But
That was still
a non-mobile quarterback though just doesn't. They just don't beat Bama. So it's interesting to see because and maybe Georgia's quarterback is mobile. Maybe he can do enough with his feet to get it done. But I don't see that happening. At least you have to prove it to me first, right? I'll go ahead and pick Bama on this one. I don't know if I'll take 5 points, but maybe the over and under is 58. I would definitely pick Bama to win the game.
Yeah, they clocked Georgia's quarterback running 20 miles an hour last week. So seems like might be a little more kind of sneaky athletic, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking he wasn't because you don't hear about him running very much. I mean, just something you don't hear about. Maybe because you don't hear about him at all. Maybe he can run. Maybe they will try to run him. But I think that's a good measuring stick to when the game starts. If they start running him and he's getting yards, then it's going to be a little tighter game than you think. But if he sits back there and tries to Tom Brady it's not going to work. I mean, it's over. All right, cool. So let's move on to our picks of the week. I'll turn it over to let's let Ronnie go first this week. Since Ricky went first last week, we'll start with Ronnie.
Yeah. So I got
we alternating again.
Yeah, let's alternate. I got 2 picks that I feel pretty good about. I got 2 that are kind of flyers, and then maybe you can talk me into a couple other ones. But the first one I got is Ole Miss versus Arkansas. And if you look at the board this week, there's a ton of games where you got short road favorites, and I feel like it's the biggest square to take, which that's why we're here on this show, is to take a short road favorite and you're just expecting them to win. So number 1 is Ole Miss versus Arkansas. So I definitely feel like a square here. I feel like I'm walking into a trap. But I just can't understand the line in this game. I looked at it this morning, and I think it was Ole Miss is laying 1.5. Is that still one? Do you have it pulled up, Steven?
Yeah, I got it pulled up. Yeah. Well, no, okay. That's where it started at. It opened at 4, and now it looks like it's pretty steady at 1.5 with all the sports books, at least all the ones here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still laying up.
I feel like that's just tickets that's getting laid with Arkansas because everybody's familiar with last week's game, and Arkansas has kind of been playing a little better than they usually are. But I just don't see how Arkansas's offense is going to be able to keep up with the Ole Miss offense. Arkansas's defense is definitely not better than Bama's. So I don't know how in the world they're going to stop Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss has put up 600 yards of offense on everybody. So here's a stat I was looking at. So in game 1, Arkansas played Georgia. They passed the ball 39 times and ran it 28, and they lost. And Felipe Franks threw 3 interceptions. All right. So game.
Got to get the Florida dig in.
I mean, I hope the guy has a great year. I mean, he puts a lot of interceptions.
All right.
So. Game 2, he plays Mississippi State. He passes the ball 28 times. They run it 37, no interceptions, right? Game 3, they play Auburn, pass it 30, run it 42. They should have won the game, no interceptions. So when they're limiting the amount of times they got to throw the ball, they're limiting mistakes, they can keep control of the ball, and they have an opportunity to win the game. They're not going to be able to do that against Ole Miss. They're going to have to chunk up the ball, and I just don't think it's going to work out very well for them. I think they're going to score a lot of points in that game. I think the over-under is 76, but there again, I don't know if I want to touch that either. I'm laying the 1.5 with Ole Miss. I just want to see how Arkansas is going to be able to pull it off.
There's a part of me that agrees with you, but then there's the super square in me. The super square, that's a new word we got today. Super square. The super square in me says this is a trap game because, I mean, you're equating Ole Miss putting up 600 something yards on Bama versus do they even give a shit versus Arkansas? And I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's like when Arkansas and Ole Miss play, and when Ole Miss and Mississippi State and the bottom dwellers of the SEC start playing, sometimes it just nothing makes sense. So yeah. It's like Ole Miss may have been preparing just significantly for Bama. They came close. Now it's over. and now they just give it up. So, but maybe they don't. Who knows? But Lane Kiffin, to me, doesn't have a track record of really kind of keeping his players motivated across the season. He gets up for big games and then loses some games too. So, the super square in me wants to say Arkansas, but then when I look at this line and I see that it was -4 Ole Miss to begin with, and now it's -1.5. That tells me a bunch of money's coming in on the Arkansas side, and I don't see how that's happening unless everyone's a super square like me.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
see if I can look at the two count.
Go ahead, Ricky. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I agree with Ronnie. When I first saw this, I was like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how Ole Miss is not, in the 10-point range, to be honest with you.
Right.
I think what people are thinking is, well, we hyped up Mississippi State, and then we saw what Arkansas's defense did to Mississippi State. They're going to be able to do that same thing to Ole Miss defense, and I don't think that's true. Mississippi State does not run the ball. Like it's a different scheme there. So I'd probably lean towards the -1.5. It's not one of the bets I'm taking, but that's probably where I would go as well.
Well, I mean, it does. I mean, Ronnie's correct. When you look at that, based on what you saw last week and based on what you think you're missing a 0 in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you really do. I mean, you're like, but then once you think about it, you're like, whoa, something must be going on that I don't know about. So that's why the super square in me says, just go with Arkansas. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, it took a lot of time. Go ahead. I guess it's your turn, Ricky.
So the game I got is about to start actually in about 30 minutes. So it's a Houston BYU game. I'm going with the over 62.5. As you know, I love overs. Houston last week beat Tulane 49-31. That was one of the only games somebody with the team with 5 turnovers. Houston had 5 turnovers. They still won that game by 18 points. So their offense is, firing all cylinders, and that was their first game of the year because they've had so many games canceled. BYU looked like a great team, was scoring over 40 points every game until last week when they played Texas San Antonio. I'm thinking that's just a fluke game. So I feel like 62.5 is going to be probably pretty easy to go over on this game.
Yeah, I think this is BYU's first test. I thought about taking Houston in this game, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. So I'm gonna wait and see, maybe next week, see what happens.
Okay, you're taking over 62.5.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's another great thing about BetSports, guys. You go into the website, you can see when I actually picked the pick and the line. So there's proof that I'm not just making up lines. You can see when I actually entered it in. So I ended up getting at 62.5. If definitely would have taken it at 60.5.
So again, you really are hitting all the rules of the square today. The square. Remember rule number 1 is be sure to pick games that you know nothing about the teams and have not seen them play. So I know nothing about BYU. I saw like 4 plays. Houston, I know nothing about them. So this is a perfect square pick. I really like it.
Thanks.
All right. Ronnie?
All right, Ronnie, you got the next one.
Yeah. So my other one that I really like. So there is no way Tennessee should be favored by 6.5. We talked about this last week. Tennessee was a squeaker against South Carolina. They beat Mizzou. And Ricky, didn't you say that Mizzou's backup quarterback was in the game when they beat Mizzou? So they didn't get any offense going there. Yeah. So, and then last week against Georgia, they kept it close in the first half, but only because they got a scoop and score on the second play of the game. Georgia went for it on their own 36 on the 4th and 1 and didn't get it. And then Tennessee scores on a real quick, 25, 30-yard dump or wherever they end up getting on the next play. So they got 2 give-me touchdowns right there. And then they didn't even score in the second half. And their longest drive in the second half was 20 yards other than their last drive, which was in garbage time. So I know Kentucky didn't look amazing last week, but their offense did look a little better the first 2 weeks. And I think their defense can hold down Tennessee because Tennessee's offense isn't all that. So I think you take the 6.5, maybe wait till game time, see if you can get a +7 on Kentucky. But yeah, 6.5 Kentucky, I think, is the play.
this is a game I'd stay away from completely. These teams are. I have no idea what to expect from either one of them, so I would be terrified of this game.
Yeah, I'm not. So is it Kentucky at Tennessee? Is that what the?
Yeah,
Is
I'm
it
pretty sure it's
in
at
Knoxville?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. I don't like this game. I'm not gonna comment on this one. I don't like it at all. It's not that you could be right. You may go 7-0 this week or whatever, but I don't like it. I'd stay away from it too.
Yeah. So the next pick I got was West Virginia against Kansas. I got West Virginia at minus 22.5. Kansas is maybe the worst team in college football right now. They lost to Oklahoma State 47-7. They lost to Baylor 47-14 and Coastal Carolina 38-13. So they haven't lost the game by less than 25 points at this point. Les Miles last week had COVID, so I'm assuming they couldn't even really capitalize on the bye week to help them improve as a team. So West Virginia's offense isn't that great. Their defense is pretty good. So I'm thinking that they might just shut out Kansas and score 4 touchdowns and win the game 28-0. So, but it's probably more likely that West Virginia will put up 35 or more points. So going to winning by more than 22.5.
That was my next pick too, Ricky. So we got a best bet there. Minus 22.5.
Lock of the week.
Whatever it is. Lock of the week right there. I mean, Kansas is one of those teams where you just pretty much take the other sides until you lose because you're playing with house money right now if you've been playing against Kansas all week or all year long.
Yeah. So the next – sorry, go ahead, Steven.
No, I was just showing the defense on the – it looks like West Virginia, you are right, their defense looks pretty strong compared to the rest of the league. Which is not saying much, but it is relative to so yeah. I like I like the pick. It's a good pick.
They said SEC is basically Big 12 defense now, so you can't talk too much crap.
No, I mean, I make fun of it. Yeah.
You got another one, Ronnie, or you want me to keep going?
Keep going. I think I got one more, but keep going.
All right. The next one I got is Mississippi State against Texas A&M. I got Texas A&M at minus 4.5 when I put it in. Mississippi State they started out so high beginning of the season, and they've just been getting worse and worse. Now they did outgain Kentucky last week, but they failed to score. They got 2 points on a safety, and that's it. You saw Mike Leach ended up calling out players, saying, maybe we need to get rid of some guys, basically. So I'm sure that, and I think he blatantly said it. It wasn't even like kind of said that. No, we need to get rid of some guys. So I'm sure that didn't improve the team chemistry too much. Obviously, Texas A&M could be let down from the big win against Florida last week, but I just don't. I feel like Mississippi State's going to keep going down a hole probably.
I think if I had to play a side in this game, I would play Texas A&M, but I just can't. This is a stay away game for me. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, what the offense didn't even score last week. You got the first game of the year where LSU played man coverage, and they picked them apart. And then after that, everybody's just playing zone, taking away the dink and dunk. You can't. They just don't have the scheme set up, or maybe like he alluded to, doesn't have the personnel that actually wants to buy into the scheme. But I don't know. This is a stay away game for me. There's too many unknowns.
Yeah. It looks like to me, I got the stats pulled up now for Mississippi State. It looks like on average their offense, their total offense is a little better than the rest of the league. Their rushing is atrocious, and it's just like they just said, we're not even going to have rushing plays. We're going to beat you with all passing plays.
60 times a game.
Do you guys think Texas A&M's defense, maybe they're really not that bad? I mean, they just maybe played 2 of the top 10 offenses in the nation.
I don't know, man.
Because they didn't give up much to Vanderbilt, but I mean, Florida and Alabama are obviously 2 of the best offenses in the nation. So I'm kind of like, maybe their defense really isn't that bad, and they just were playing superior offenses. or elite offenses.
Vandy only scored 7 on South Carolina, so I mean maybe Coach Boom over there has got it figured out, but I don't know. South Carolina.
Yeah, their rushing defense is better than the league. That was against Alabama. We couldn't run crap against them. So I've got the stats pulled up now. It looks like they're way better in rushing defense than passing. So it looks like this is going to be, weakness versus strength here on with this matchup. So
yeah. Who's your next one, Ronnie?
So my next one is North Texas. Oh, I got to pull it up here.
Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee. So Middle Tennessee is averaging. I mean, we're talking about they're averaging. I got to pull up the stat here. I didn't
all right. Time out. This is gonna be rule number 2 of the Square Show. If you know what city the teams play in regularly, then you can't pick them. So Ronnie, I know you don't know where North Texas plays at, right? You don't know the city name, right?
It's like north of Dallas, or like I don't know. Maybe it's Amarillo. I can find out. I don't know. I know Middle Tennessee, Murfreesboro.
Okay, good. No, you're good. You're good. The Squares don't have to know where the teams play. The Squares don't even have to know where the teams play. They don't care about the weather. They don't care about if they've ever seen the team play. See, we got 2 axioms so far, so that's good. Go ahead.
North Texas.
Denton, Texas.
North Texas, like the level of competition that both teams have played against is about the same. And North Texas is at least able to put up some points. Middle Tennessee is averaging 19 points a game. North Texas is averaging 36 points a game. Neither one of them is their defense is that great, but I just can't believe they're going to give up 6, maybe 7 points by game time. So I'm taking the points in North Texas here. I think this probably, other than West Virginia, this is probably the lock of the week right here.
I have no comment on this game.
Yeah, so we know you're the professional of the group, right? And I feel like we need to give out awards on this show, kind of like when Miami, when they intercept a pass, they got this gaudy chain. I think we need like a little shovel. We need like a little shovel to hand out to the person who goes mining for the gem of the week. Like man, you are digging so damn deep on this.
I think it's a magnifying glass. We need a magnifying glass right here. Just searching out those picks. Little tiny at the bottom of the page picks.
I mean, he's mining so deep down into the earth on this pick, man. It's just ridiculous. But that's okay. Maybe it is the lock of the week. And not only is he saying it's a good pick, he's saying it's the lock of the week. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. Hey, we'll see. Hey, when you're hot, you're hot.
Are you putting your picks on BetSpurt so that people know that you actually stuck with these picks?
Yeah, I'll put them on there. I wish I would have put them on there the last 2 weeks.
What's your username so we can all call you out?
I have to look it up. I just signed up 2 nights ago, but I think it's like Ron John 46 or Ron John 4628, something like that.
All right. Well, while Ronnie's looking it up, I'll give you my next pick.
All right. That's the shovel of the week pick right there. The gem. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So the next pick I got FSU versus North Carolina. I had the over 54 in the Notre Dame game. That came to fruition pretty easily. That would end up being a 68-point game there. So I'm taking the over on 64 for this game here. UNC's offense is looking really good this year. After their bad first game performance, really just first half against Syracuse. FSU, their offense also looked a lot better with Jordan Travis now as quarterback. He got injured towards the end of this game, but I saw that he's been healthy in practice the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to stick with the over 64. I think any decent offense is going to score over 40 points on FSU's defense for the rest of the year. So I could see them scoring, 49 points, and then I really only need 2 touchdowns and a field goal out of Florida State, and I think they can get that.
Yeah. So does North Carolina have a good defense? Let's look and see.
They let 45, against Virginia Tech. So, and that was with the depleted Virginia Tech that flipped quarterbacks mid-game.
So they're better. They're a little better in passing compared to the rest of the league. Their league. They're a little better in rushing, and they're a sliver better in passing. So they got a pretty good little defense compared to the rest of the league. So, and then their offense looks better than the rest of the league. So you're saying they're gonna cover, right?
Yep. So over 64 for that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're taking the over. I thought about laying the points with North Carolina, but I talked myself out of it. I just can't do that many points. I just don't trust North Carolina enough, especially after last week. So,
yep.
that's not a bad play.
What's your next one?
Yeah. So I don't really have another one. I was thinking about that North Carolina game. I was also thinking about pull the schedule.
What's your thought? I thought you would end up potentially doing South Carolina +3 on Auburn. That was one I debated for a while, and I was like, I'll stay away. I can see Auburn getting chewed out and embarrassed the last 2 weeks. They almost lost to Arkansas. Then maybe they get it back together, but I don't know.
You can't judge them putting up 41 on Vandy as like they got something going. I mean, Auburn could very well come out and lay the wood to South Carolina as far as I'm concerned. I just can't. I can't trust South Carolina enough to play that. What do you think about Notre Dame Louisville? That's another game I was looking at.
Yeah, it's -14, right?
Yeah. What do you think about taking Louisville?
I don't like that. I mean, Louisville embarrassed us last week on that Georgia Tech pick that I thought was a lock, so I think they're getting deflated more and more. Maybe they start questioning the coach a little bit. They got stomped by us. They got stomped by Georgia Tech. Then they lost by, 3 points to Pittsburgh? So they're on a losing streak right now. So
yeah, I can see where Ronnie's going on this. It's almost like Notre Dame gets a lot of money on them, right? So and you would be, at least at this point, if you took Louisville on the points, if that's what you're saying, Ronnie, you'd be taking 17 points. Yeah. I'm a dog. I'm a dog person. I like that pick. Louisville and 17. Yeah, I kind of like that pick.
I'm thinking about it.
All right, so
46 to Georgia Tech last week would be a play.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. If they didn't do that with Georgia Tech, I'd probably go with the pick. So I got my final pick for the week. I picked the Bama versus Georgia game. I'm actually going to say, other than, like Ronnie said, the West Virginia game, this would probably be my lock of the week. Bama -4.5. I don't think it's going to be close. I think this game's being hyped because it's an SEC game, but I cannot see George Bennett IV, walk-on player, ex-JUCO player, kid. They told him, I heard, that they didn't even want him as their QB at one point earlier this year. There's no way that kid's going to beat Bama or make it anywhere close to competitive. So I'm going probably 2 touchdowns Bama.
We talked about this last week. I told you to pick your own team. You keep picking Bama. You keep picking Bama every week, dude. Pick Miami.
Oh, I will also pick. I will add Miami.
Why can't you pick Miami?
Okay, I will go into my BetSperts account right now. Miami's at what right now? What's that line? -13?
It's -13, yeah.
Guys, here, just so you can see this as evidence, BetSperts, logging in right now. All right. Go to my pro. Oh, let me put in a pick real quick. Right there. Can everybody see my screen?
Now, see, you're going to make me feel bad. You're going to make me feel bad when you lose that game. Because this
Miami.
it's all kidding aside, right? So, I know Ronnie's not going to pick Bama and Georgia because he knows better. Because we talked about last week, he said pick his own team.
I don't have a team to pick this week.
Minus 13 just submitted. All right. So everybody go to my BetSperts account. Somebody call me out one more time. Call me out again and see what happens.
So okay. So you're plugging yourself again. See, here we go again. You're plugging your own website, driving traffic away from this one. That's fine. Just do what you want to do, Rebound.
Trying to get my solo career ready, okay?
All right.
You got any more picks, Ricky?
No, that's all I got, man.
Okay.
Just 6 picks. Yeah, so recap for me, Houston, BYU over 62.5. Got West Virginia minus 22.5. Texas A&M minus 4.5. UNC FSU over 64. And Bama minus 4.5. And Miami minus 13.
All right, I got North Texas plus 6.5. Kentucky plus 6.5. What's the Ole Miss minus 1.5, and West Virginia minus 25.
Cool. All right, guys. That's it for week 7. Enjoy your weekend. Please don't drink and text. Stay away from COVID. You guys stay well.
All right, guys.
Bye. See you.